does the person you are with encourage you to read? You have to ask, what does he bring for me? Roses or books? If someone has a stake in making you better, that person will push you towards books. Books are what we all need.
Let's talk about two very famous, people also call them infamous, Behrupias of the 20th century.
Yes, you want to talk about Osho and Krishnamurti.
Right. Not
and
because
the difference in their methods and whether they converge at some point.
Right. These two Behrupias. So you are saying that the Guru takes various forms, right? Each rung of that ladder has a different color to it. Not only it's different in color, might be different also in size. Okay, each rung is different, right? These two people are ostensibly North Pole and South Pole to each other, right? At least Krishnamurti always believed so. When we listen to Osho, he says, and I quote, he says that Krishnamurti failed because he could not touch the human heart. This is Osho on Krishnamurti, right? So he's not just criticizing him. People asked him, so the title of this discourse is Socrates Poisoned Again After 25 Centuries. And he's saying, people ask him about what are your opinions about Krishnamurti, right? And this is what he says. Krishnamurti failed because he could not touch the human heart. He could only reach the human head. The heart needs some different approaches. So he's talking about one particular form to which he ascribes and to which Krishnamurti did not ascribe. This is where I've differed with him all my life. Unless the human heart is reached, you cannot go on repeating parrot-like beautiful words. They don't mean anything. Whatever Krishnamurti was saying is true, but he could not manage, and by managing he means he could not take a particular form to relate it to your heart. In other words, what I am saying is that J. Krishnamurti was a great philosopher, but he could not become a master. He could not help people, prepare people for a new life, a new orientation. At some other place, he also says, I feel such a deep affinity with Krishnamurti that even to talk of connection is not right. Connection is possible only between two things which are separate. I feel almost a oneness with him. In spite of all his criticisms, in spite of all my criticisms, which were just joking with the old man, provoking the old man, and he was very easily provoked, Krishnamurti's teaching is beautiful but too serious. So seriousness, humor, one essential, crucial, elemental difference between these two. And when we listen to Krishnamurti, right, what he has to say about Osho, he says that people have often asked me, why don't you speak on this man? And he says that I don't have much to say because I don't get into this business of talking about people, right? Whereas Osho is something who has given discourse almost on everybody, on all philosophers, all mystics, all saints, all poets. One thing Krishnamurti says, which creates a strong distinction between him and Osho, is that you can never submit to a person, right? And this is the game in which Osho is indulging, right? So authority, one difference. Both of them are different opinions on authority, whether authority is required in the learning process or not, on how that ladder has to work. The other difference is humor, the style of the spiritual discourse. So one is humor, the style of a spiritual discourse, which also brings in seriousness. The other is the role of authority, the method of the Guru. So the style of the Guru and the method of the Guru. And I want, since you are somebody after in today in the 21st century who has conflated these two, you have brought together both Krishnamurti and Osho, and in your discourses we find humor, we find also moments of intense seriousness, of attention, and your method is something which is akin to both Krishnamurti and Osho. Your style is also very close to Osho as well as to Krishnamurti. So today I want to ask you, what is your opinion on this contradiction? Is there any? And if there is any, how does somebody who read you, Krishnamurti and Osho, all the three, how does somebody, a reader of today's world, react to this contradiction?
There is really no contradiction. It's just that who is saying and to whom are things being said. Osho, yes, of course, he did believe in having the Guru as the authority. And yes, factually it does seem that at times he was referring to the person of the Guru as the authority. Krishnamurti says there can be no authority. Now, both are saying much the same thing, provided we understand the central statement. And the central statement too has been made by both of them and by countless others. The central statement is, understand first what Osho is saying. Osho is saying the Guru can be the authority. Or rather, the Guru is the authority. The Guru is the authority. What is Krishnamurti saying? There can be no authority. The central statement from where both of them are deriving their statements is truth is the only authority. So what Osho is saying is the Guru within brackets standing for the truth is the authority. Because what is the central statement?
The truth is the only authority.
Truth is the only authority. So what Osho is saying is the Guru within brackets silent. The Guru standing for the truth is the authority. And now what he is saying is totally alright. Because if truth is the only authority and if there can be an entity which stands for the truth, then it can be an authority. Whether or not it can be in the shape of a person having continuity in time, that is a different matter. We'll come to it. Coming to Krishnamurti's statement, what does he say? There can be no authority. What he's saying is there can be no authority within brackets except truth. Within brackets except truth. What he's saying is there can be no worldly authority. Truth is the only authority. That's what he's saying. So both of them are deriving their statements from the same central statement. But whenever you talk in terms of derivations, there is always the danger of corruption. So what then happens is that people who listen to Osho, they often get into the trap of personality worship. Now, it's not the silence that he can bring them to which matters, but rather you are getting it? Rather, the words themselves become all important. The worth of Osho's words is that they can bring you to silence. And if you ask him, he would surely agree that silence has the prime value. But if you become member of a cult, then instead of the silence, you start giving prime value to the words. And unfortunately, then the words fail in their intended function. The words were uttered and were designed so that they may bring you to silence. But if you start latching on to words you suddenly find that the words have started failing. Now the words can no more give you silence. Are you getting it? So that is one type of corruption that can happen. Coming to Krishnamurti's case, when you say there can be no authority, but you do not make it clear, very clear, that within brackets you have said accept truth, though he has said it many a times, but I don't know how the whole myth spreads. What happens is that even truth is then not taken as an authority. So there can be no authority. The no includes a no to truth. And when there is a no to truth, there is a yes to ego. So when even the truth cannot be an authority, who becomes the authority? The ego becomes the authority. And that is what happens with a lot of Krishnamurti followers. There can be no authority. So even if a person is sitting in front of you, and you can see that in his company, in his presence, you are being led towards peace, you would still deny respect and authority to that person purely because there can be no authority.
Right.
What you are forgetting is that if truth is the authority, if truth is an authority, and this fellow is leading you towards truth, then at least ascribe to him a shade of that authority. So nobody has any authority, but the fact is somebody ought to have the authority because something ought to be the truth. When you are saying nothing is authority, do you also mean to say nothing is true? All is false. What do you mean by authority? Authority means that which is central, authorship. The first one.
Right.
Something has to be the first, right? And when nothing is first, then all you have is falseness. And that's often what happens with people who have been in touch with Krishnamurti for long. Krishnamurti or his works. They cannot surrender. And remember that surrendering in your human form would always happen in front of another human form. Though it is not the body that surrenders to another body. It is your mind which surrenders to the call of peace. But in the human form, it is bound to appear as if one man is surrendering to another man. That is just the appearance, that one man is surrendering to another man. But it is bound to appear that way. And if you are hell-bent that I will not let it appear that way, then what are you going to do? Are you getting it? So, the best thing is to keep it absolutely pure. Why hide any part of the pure statement? No brackets needed. No brackets needed. Truth is the only authority. And if the truth decides that it will be manifested in the form of a person, then the authority of the truth is vested in that person. Not unconditionally. Only to the point when that person sheds all his personality and acts purely as a vehicle for the truth. Only till that point. Beyond that point, no. So, are you getting it? The Guru has no unconditional authority. The authority of the Guru flows from the Guru's proximity to the truth. And the day the person of the Guru loses that proximity with the truth, it may happen. Strange things happen on this earth. It may happen. that the person of the Guru does lose proximity with the truth, that day he loses all his authority. Because authority didn't belong to your nose or to your eyes or to your hair or to your shirt. It belonged to your heart. And you yourself have lost touch with your heart. Losing touch with your heart, you have also lost all authority. Now you have no authority. Are you getting it? These are not so difficult to reconcile. The position that Krishnamurti had taken and Osho had taken.
These contradictions, it seems to me, are a result of a certain misreading.
Misreading and misstatement also.
Right.
Why not just keep it totally pure and say there can be no authority except truth?
Right. So what you are saying now, this reconciliation that you've brought forward, don't you think that these two personalities were also aware of?
Of course they were aware of it. You see,
Then what was
everybody
the...
operates in a particular context. Krishnamurti was operating in a context where had he said that there can be no authority except truth, truth would have been objectified. Everybody would have said, a lot of people would have stood up and said, we stand for the truth and hence we are the authority. So he said, I strike down all of you. I will leave no scope for any of you rascals.
Right.
Because the moment I say that there is no authority except truth, everybody will claim to be the ambassador of truth.
Right.
So I leave, I'm closing that door. And had Osho said that Guru is the authority, bracket, only as long as he stands for the truth, then all the disillusioned and disenchanted followers, the day he would have struck at their ego, the day he would have applied niti with them and really attacked their falsenesses, what would have they said? Oh, he no more stands for the truth, so we are leaving him. He is no more the authority. Because he himself said that the Guru is authority only till the day he stands for the truth. Today we have seen that he no more stands for the truth. So therefore he had to hide this part.
But their audiences were largely same. Unke audience, I mean, they had same audiences, same people, same environment. They were born.
No, it was not that.
No.
way. Even today they are not the same. You can easily tell apart a Krishnamurti guy from an Osho guy.
So this contradiction falls apart when one
There is
looks
no
at...
contradiction. There is no.
It's only apparent.
It's only apparent.
Right. So this methodological contradiction does not...
There is a difference in methods.
Difference.
In methods, which can be.
What about style? Right.
Humor and all.
Right.
Krishnamurti was not dry. And Osho was deeply serious at times. Krishnamurti did used to joke. And there is often a hint of a sarcasm in what he says. There is that ever-present wit.
Right.
He wasn't a dry man. He knew how to joke. He did use humor.
Right.
And at times I have seen him use sarcasm like anything. Sarcasm is usually something we associate with Osho. You know, his jokes used to
Be very sarcastic.
be very sarcastic sometimes.
Religions.
But Krishnamurti could, ultimately you are operating as a human form. So there is some remnant of your individuality. You are bound to have different methods as a result of your upbringing,
Right.
and also as a result of the audiences that you are dealing with. Osho says Krishnamurti is too serious.
Right.
The fact is just the opposite. The fact is Osho is extremely serious. Krishnamurti is not. What is seriousness? If seriousness means commitment, then Osho needed to be probably a little less serious. He was a man in a hurry.
Right.
From one place to the other, from one ashram to the other, and then to the commune. And then there, within 5 years, he wanted to challenge all the systems and all the people.
Right.
He was extremely serious about something.
Right.
He was racing against time.
Right.
You look at the way he made a joker of himself by wearing all those dresses. We have a photo of him here. He was a very serious man, extremely serious man.
Right.
You can be very serious and yet keep joking.
Right.
But if you look beneath the jokes, you find a man who is extremely dedicated, very, very serious. Very serious. More serious than probably Krishnamurti. And this is no offense to Krishnamurti.
So this contradiction is nothing but another example of how society creates fetishes. I mean,
When you don't understand,
pigeonholes people.
when
create
you
them
don't
into
understand,
buckets.
all you see is differences.
Right.
When you don't understand, all you see is differences. When you understand, then everything is just the same and the one.
So interestingly, this topic, which to me appeared, so vast, so interesting, has suddenly come out as something very simple, right?
Very simple, very obvious.
Right.
You know, once you gain nearness with the truth, it appears so ordinary. And in fact, that is why the guru has to then disappear. Because the guru starts appearing stupid. Having brought you to your destination, the guru must inevitably disappear. Because now he will appear stupid. I mean, it was so obvious. Why are you telling it to me? It is obviously true. And that's the role of the guru, to bring you to a point where you can say that it is obviously true. What's the big deal? But before you can complete your sentence, you will find he has vanished.